isn't any trickery, okay? It's absolutely inserted. Like, it's really inserted. That was my finger. Doesn't like to go in the battery. That was a loaded round. Go again. These magazines are awful. Time, dude. Every time. It's a pretty new pistol, by the way. Alright, got it to go in the battery all the way. By the way, if you hadn't noticed, this has really, really weak extraction. Never fails. Ugh. There it is again. What's going on, guys? I'm a regular guy at the Regular Guy Firearms channel. Thanks for watching. So, a while back when I was still doing IDP gay, okay, I was a freaking young, impressionable, and really poor freaking kid that was just trying to, you know, compete and all this other stuff. And I figured, you know what, a single stack 9mm that basically has the same weight as a full-size 1911 might be really good for competition. I see a lot of dudes run them, and I see a lot of dudes run them really, really well, right? Unfortunately, I didn't realize what friggin' rabbit hole that I was jumping into, primarily because with a Taurus PT1911 and 9mm, that was a stupendously bad decision. Now, this pistol is actually a few years old, at least, okay? This was actually a pistol that I didn't even personally buy. I joined the Army in 2008, and I lived in Florida at the time, right? The way that works as far as gun laws are concerned is to that, you know, if you're in the military and stuff like that, you can both A, get a concealed carry permit, and B, own a handgun. But the really funky way that works out is that you still can't purchase a handgun or the ammo for it. So all that stuff had to be gifted to me by my dad. I was actually kind of depressed about it and everything else, and he just went, "Here you go. Here's your little whiz bang thing that I seen that you were eyeing." I shot with it a little bit, and I recognized, you know, this wasn't cutting it, and I put it away, and then it stayed away. But I decided that I was going to bring this guy out here and share it with you guys to hopefully fend off people from freaking buying this thing in the future. Okay. Now, what's kind of crazy about these 1911s is that, you know, they're marketed as affordable 9mm 1911s that you can compete and stuff with. But there's a problem with that. They're garbage. Okay. This guy was cleaned up. It was barely ever fired. I mean, there was probably something like maybe 700 rounds through it before I brought it out to you guys today. because it's never run well. Okay. I've had a lot of issues with fail to extract, fail to feed, failure to eject, all kinds of shit like that. And what's even worse, and this is in particular, like, these magazines are trash. Okay, the magazines that it came with, absolute garbage. Yeah, they're 9+1. First of all, they're incredibly difficult to load for single stack 9mm magazines. Second, on a regular basis, okay, and you guys saw this happen, that is with an empty magazine, they just do not lock to the rear ever. Okay, and this is before I got really serious into the tactical shit, right? Where, like, where at this point I was keeping guns unloaded all the time and stuff like that. And since then, I noticed that this guy is just something that I was not going to keep loaded around the house because it wasn't worth it to me. Okay, this is a production 1911 with incredibly loose tolerances. You can hear that? Look, I understand that there's a lot of 1911 guys that are like, well, the rattle is good. Some is. This much is not, okay? This is way too much play. This is everything in the pistol rattling around. Now, via comparison, my Glock 19 that's got like 10 million rounds through it, it's got some play in it too. Nowhere near as much. And this has tens of thousands of rounds through it. And that's the thing, guys. Like, there isn't anything really big to say about it. There isn't anything crazy. Like, when you first start shooting it, it's amazing and shoots real soft and all this other stuff. But then you start noticing stuff like really weak extraction, and right after that, you start getting 1,000 different problems. Okay. Yes, I sent this back to Taurus once, and they sent it back to me, and the problems never resolved themselves because I believe that's just how the pistol's built. Okay, it's built really, really, really dirt poor, cheap, with a good freaking warranty on it, and they really don't want people to shoot these things a whole lot. Well, let me retract that. They don't count on people to shoot these things a lot, and notice the fact that they're crap. Okay, empty magazine, clearly an empty magazine, in a magazine designed for the firearm itself, that comes with it in the box, and it doesn't lock it to the rear. Now, I'm pretty sure that this isn't the only one that does this either. Yep. Both do the same thing. Okay. They don't lock to the rear. Oh, there it is. It went one time. But it's unreliable as hell, as you can obviously see. I ended up having to get and this was so I could add 3 magazines to, like, compete in IDPA and stuff like that, because it's what I had in my backyard at the time. And admittedly, at the time I thought it was like a really good idea. Like, it was a good way to train and all this other stuff, right? But with that, okay, now it actually goes into slide lock, but it won't while I'm shooting a thing, and you guys saw that about 100 times. Okay, so stay the fuck away from it. Stay the fuck away from the Taurus line of 1911s, because the 9mm guns will run worse than the 45s, but the 45s aren't far behind. Okay, like, really simple things, like, and I really don't think that you can see this, so I'm going to go ahead and take this guy apart because it's that easy to. Like, hut. Alright. It's been a while since I ripped a 1911 apart. But, really simple things, like feed ramp for the barrels and stuff like that, right? It is extremely sharp. Like, extremely sharp. Now, taking this guy apart, first of all, it has a full-length guide rod, which I'm not a huge fan of, but I don't really see it hurting the gun in any demonstrable way. But when you take this guy apart, holy shit, look at this feed ramp, guys. Look at how incredible, like, just the incline on it is so sharp, and I'm pretty sure that that's one of the reasons why it just wasn't feeding worth a damn. You know, like, it's ridiculous. Like, this pistol is so cheaply made and stuff like that, that I'm sorry and I'm not that I ended up with it, because in one way, I know that it's a gigantic piece of crap, and I know what to look for now as far as gigantic pieces of crap, but I'm also sorry that I wasted my time on it, you know? Like, I went through, you know, the poor guy attempts to make it more shootable and help me out, especially when I first got it, you know, like red freaking paint for the front sight post. I got some ergo grips on it. Yeah, I didn't know anything about guns back then, but you know, I did my best to make it work, and it just would not, you know. But you know, it is what it is. So if you got any questions, go ahead and throw that in the comments box below. And yeah, I'm sure that a guy's gonna go into the comments box and be like, "Ah, well, my 9mm Taurus 1911 or 45 has run 10 billion rounds and blah blah blah." I don't care. I don't at all. You guys seen everything that happened in this gun. I didn't do anything extraneous with the gun other than friggin' shoot it. Okay? And that's what we ended up with. But with that being said, guys, oh, and by the way, I went through like a total of maybe 200 rounds today. Just so you know. But with that being said, go ahead and leave a comment in the comments box below. And remember, the regular guy's firearm is the last defense against tyranny. Be easy. I'm going to go back to shooting pistols that actually work.